You can't get out of life what you aren't willing to put in. I can only blame myself for the results I didn't get from the work I failed to do. Are you willing to do what's necessary for you to get that thing? More, regardless of how much I put in, I still need to be putting in more.
A lot of people, they focus on, I want to be this and that in the next 5 years. Kind of get lost, not appreciating the process, because the journey really is the beauty part of it.
What was a moment in your life where you hit a wall and it was really hard for you to get out of it?
Yo. It's a Side Quest King, aka Royalty. How y'all doing this morning, man? Today is August 16th, and I got about 20 minutes until my client gets here. So I thought I would speak with y'all, get a little personal, get a little conversation going. It's 6:40 right now, bright and early, as we love it. You feel me? If you on a path to greatness, if you trying to better yourself today, drop a dime in the chat. Drop a dime in the chat, man. I have this quote I was thinking about because of how yesterday went. Let me tell y'all a little bit about how yesterday went, right? As always, clock in 6:30. My day was going pretty smooth. Had a lot of clients come through, and it was a very busy day. I ended up taking 2 extra clients in the evening. I was supposed to get out at 7, but didn't get out the studio. Didn't finish with my clients till 10 p.m. 6:30 to 10 p.m. It was a long shift. I was honestly done after 7, but I just thugged it out. The reason why I'm wanting to talk about this is because of this old quote that I had. The quote goes like this: you can't get out of life what you aren't willing to put in. Followed by, I can only blame myself for the results I didn't get from the work I failed to do. I want y'all to let that sink in for a moment. You can't get out of life what you aren't willing to put in. So you have to ask yourself the question, what do I want in life? Do I really want this thing, or do I just think it'd be nice to have? Do I really even think it's possible for me to have it? Because if I want it, I can go get it. What's stopping you from going and getting it? If somebody else got it, why can't you get it? You feel me? So it's like, what do you want in life? And what do you have to do to get that thing? Are you willing to do what's necessary for you to get that thing? If you know you have big dreams, because I'm not talking to the people who don't have goals, who don't have dreams, who don't have a purpose. I'm talking to those who want a better life for themselves. And if you are one of those people, are you putting in the work necessary for you to squeeze out of life as much as you can? That's my question to you. And that's a question I always ask myself, because deep down, no matter how much work I put in, sometimes it doesn't feel like enough, to be honest with you. Because I have these big aspirations and these different visions that come to my mind, it's so grand that sometimes I feel like, dang, is it even attainable? And that's how you want to feel about your dreams, bro. You want to be like, dang, I'm dreaming so big that even I can't believe it almost, right? But you gotta believe it. You gotta believe it for you to even achieve it. But you gotta dream so big to where it seems like you're delusional. It's locked right now, but come on. Come. You told me that last time. Oh my goodness.
And I was like, I'm not going to go back. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness.
But are you working tomorrow?
Tomorrow is Saturday. No. I can come grab him. Where you at? Say hello to the people.
Folks, how we doing?
Yep.
This man's a bless. Oh, this man. Cuts.
Chill. He a little decent. Go back to what I was really saying. Sometimes I feel like it ain't enough, and that I need to be putting in more. Regardless of how much I put in, I still need to be putting in more. So days like yesterday, actually, I love days like yesterday. Days where I feel like I've put in every single thing that I can and I have nothing left. Those are the days where I feel like I did enough. Those are the days where it's like, yo, I did something. Most people would have checked out already. Most people aren't having those days consistently. So that kind of lets me know, like, yo, all of this is going to pay off eventually. Truth is, we know what we need to do to get to the next level. You know exactly what you need to do. You don't need to be motivated. You don't need a mentor. You know exactly what you need to do to get yourself out of your situation, out of your current situation, wherever that may be. And it's like when you let a year, 2, 3 years fly by and you're still expecting something that you should have been got, but you didn't go and get it, you can only blame yourself. I have to go back to 2 years ago. I actually wrote down a vision of what I wanted my life to be like in 2023. I wrote that out in 2022, but by the time 2023 came, I was like, dang, I didn't get everything that I wrote down, but I also knew that I didn't deserve it because I didn't do the things necessary for me to achieve that life. I knew exactly what I needed to do, but I was drifting. I was doing the bare minimum, just emotions, you feel me? I wasn't going above and beyond because most dreams, for you to bring them to reality, you need to go above and beyond. You can't just do the bare minimum. You can't just drift. You have to be calculated. You have to have a plan. You have to have a strategy, and you have to be disciplined and execute on that. I knew, like, yo, of course I didn't get it. I didn't do the work necessary for me to get it. I can only blame myself for the results I didn't get from the work I failed to do. Because if I did do that work, I would have gotten those results. But of course, cause and effect, I didn't get those results. Ask yourself, like, yo, who are you gonna be? Are you gonna be someone who drifts? Or are you gonna be someone who is calculated and executes at the highest level? I have to ask myself that question every day. Because the bare minimum is easy. Everybody does the bare minimum. But that's why you see a lot of people living a bare minimum life. And if you want to live a life of abundance, if you want your cup to runneth over, you have to pour into it. You feel me? You have to pour every single thing that you got every day, as much as you can, until you have nothing left. That's just my word for the day. Zay. Tell them who you are and what you do.
Before I get to that point, I'm gonna touch a little bit on what you do. Right? It's nice and realistic to have goals and to know exactly what we're supposed to do. At the end of the day, does life get in the way? It does. Right? I don't know one person that's gonna say, okay, I have this goal in 5 years, and that's the only thing that they do for the next 4 years, because some way, some reason, some form, whether it's family, friends, partner, or whatever it is, there's always got to be somebody else's feelings or emotions or whatever it is that you have to take in consideration, not as a detrimental to yours, but how do you say this in English? But as a coexisting with your life moving forward, right? So we can always take accountability and responsibility for ourselves not being where we want to be. But at the end of the day, I think it's more on a process driven and not on an end goal. A lot of people, they focus on, I want to be this and that and that in the next 5 years. And you know exactly what you're supposed to do, like you said.
Exactly.
But I think a lot of the times as well, a lot of people just think, okay, that's the goal. That's the goal. I got to achieve the goal. But you kind of get lost, not appreciating the process, because the journey really is the beauty part of it. The goal is really just the end destination, or it may not even be your end destination, but being in the process, being present, is what's going to fulfill you. It's really where you're going to learn more about yourself, learn more about who's with you and not with you. So at the end of the day, like, yes, you can take accountability for not being where you want to be, but also give yourself some space in terms of being healthy enough to be able to understand, okay, it just didn't happen. I just got to lock in more for next year. So I hear you talking about yourself, and I hear you say, like, I blame myself. I don't like the word blame, because blame has a negative connotation in it. You say, I learned more that I need to be more disciplined about so and so, because now you're putting this positive spin to it. Blame to me sounds like a thunderstorm. Learning more about myself, and it sounds like there's optimism to go forward.
like that.
So it's just about creating not a toxic environment in your head, because at the end of the day, you're the only person that lives in it, right? So you got to create positive framework, but we're still holding yourself accountable to be able to meet that end goal of yours. That's probably a better way of looking at it.
So it's
Yeah.
like you don't get the satisfaction from the goal. It's like it's the dang, I really did achieve it. You know the journey that it took for you to achieve it.
I can maybe add to it. Like, a lot of people try, when they try to lose weight, they say, "Hey, I want to have." Let's say it's August, so by next summer I want to have a 6-pack or whatever it is, right? And they're putting a time frame, right, which is a SMART goal, specific, measurable, something and time wise. But after the summer comes, right, they start binge eating or start getting fat again, because they forgot that the process about going to the gym and eating healthy and stuff like that, all of that is good for your health. But they're not thinking about good for my health. They're thinking about, oh, by next summer, I need to look like this and look like that. If you really focus on the process, okay, like, why am I doing this? How is it beneficial for me? What positive is it bringing to my life? Now you're starting to get deeper, instead of just like, okay, I want to have my own business that makes so and so, or I want to have my music career that's taking off so and so. At the end of the day, we can only see it through one lens, but there are other people in this world that live a completely different life than we do. And if you can take a little bit of somebody from this little conversation that's positive, I think you've already made a step forward towards that goal. Let's give me cut it, because I have work.
I know.
I don't work tomorrow, but I have preseason 12 to 2 tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I can either get it to you.
I was thinking about that quote because it's a quote I said a long time ago.
Okay.
Not long, probably like 2 years. And I wrote it, put it on my wall. And the reason why, right, is because like where I'm from, it's like it's hard for me to complain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I found out a lot of people complain about things that they can change.
Okay.
Me, it's like if I can't change it, leave it alone.
Okay.
Now, if I can change it, it's in my power, it's in my will, it's in God's will for me to change it.
To change it.
You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I can't blame anyone. I can't blame my circumstances. If something happens, something gets in the way, that's fine. I ain't gonna be mad about it. It's life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree with what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying. I just think that's probably a better way, because I'm not quite sure where I read this, but I do remember at times, like, the English word is kind of like, it spells.
Yep, spells. So what
Um,
spells you put on yourself?
Exactly.
Yep.
So I just think about trying to change that word frame from, we're both saying the same thing. You're putting specifically on yourself, and you're putting that whole thing on yourself. And to me, that's just, when I think about it, it sounds really like thunderstorms. What if you said, like, okay, I've not been on my P's and Q's, but at the same time, if there is something that I've learned from this process, is that I need to be more dedicated in this. So now you change that thunderstorm into, like, okay, like, how can we put building blocks in for the next whatever couple months or years to be able to achieve that goal? Especially from where we're from. I think a lot of times here, people are complaining about it. What I will say is just hold yourself accountable. It's perfect. To me, you should never give an excuse or a reason for somebody else to not help you with whatever it is. It should always be on you. Yes. It's just about how can we turn that into more positive words.
That create a more positive environment
Exactly.
for growth. But sometimes when you're not being as disciplined, you're not on your P's, you got to look back and be like, yo, why am I not, why am I not on point? And actually appreciate where you are, even though it's not your best, right? And be like, okay, what is causing me to be here? You feel me? And that's when I was like, yo, I actually appreciate my down seasons, because this is God telling me, like, yo, you need to rest, you need to chill out for a second. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And you need to pay attention to where I'm trying to get you to go.
It's about, okay, is what I'm doing gonna get me to my end goal? Yes. Did it sidetrack a bit? Yes. But if I keep doing this over time,
it has to go.
Exactly, right?
So it's not just a straight line. You're gonna have your peaks and valleys. What was a moment in your life where you hit a wall
and it was really hard for you to get out of it. And what did you do to get out of it?
I would probably say my injury in 2019, the one essentially that stopped me from playing soccer.
Mm-hmm.
It's my senior year in college. I messed up my ankle. Coach thought it was an ankle sprain. We low-key kind of thought too, low-key.
Mm-hmm.
Coach comes up to me after 2 weeks, like, yo, man, you're senior, you're playing well, we need you, come on, like, at least try to give it a go.
Mm-hmm.
I jog around like the next game after he said that. I wasn't going to play, I was just going to jog to test the ankle.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I ended up popping the back of my ankle.
Ooh.
And ever since then, I haven't really been able to play soccer. My whole life during that time was, I'm going to be a soccer player.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I'm going to do. Then COVID happened. Then I ended up getting surgery during COVID, and essentially like 8 months after the injury, because we tried every avenue to get it back to where it was supposed to be, and it just nothing was working. So we're like, okay, surgery, so that's the option.
Mm-hmm.
And then during that time, it's like COVID and being in the house and stuff like that. This might not be a good example, but it just felt like the world stood still.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to say that playing soccer didn't matter anymore, but it was kind of like a good time for a transition to like, okay, I know I still love soccer. Unfortunately, I can't do what I want to, which is play anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But what about this coaching shit? What about giving back to like, the kids that maybe didn't have the same training as I had, or maybe they didn't get the opportunity to have as good of a coach as I did.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is I hit a wall in terms of my age rate, and I found a different purpose, still within the overall context of soccer. So instead of just thinking, okay, I'm gonna play, I saw it as I think God is trying to tell me like, yo, like, this is done. Like I love you and I know you give a lot for this, but this might not be your way forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to think about, okay, what is the next avenue as to how I can reach this